Each individual has their own unique understanding of happiness, friendship, and recreation. It is not uncommon for opinions to differ in these matters. But is it considered normal or a problem? In my family's case, it became a reason for our breakup. During our 2 years of marriage, Alina and I never seemed to find compatible schedules or shared interests. You see, I am a city person, born and raised in the bustling capital, while Alina comes from a quiet village not far away. Our perspectives on vacations couldn't be more different. I find the greatest pleasure in lounging on a sand for hours on end, occasionally enjoying a cocktail and a leisurely swim. However, Alina can't relax in that way. She needs constant activity, whether it's exploring new places, overcoming challenges, or chatting with her friends on the phone about various recipes. She simply doesn't see relaxation any other way. As soon as I realized this, I immediately dismissed any attempts to convince me to go on vacation with her to some new resort or sanatorium. Just look at the pictures, Alina would say, trying to persuade me. Look at the rooms, the treatment facilities, the baths, massages, and inhalations. Oh yes, the inhalations that she despised since childhood. And what about living by a strict routine? No, thank you. What would I do there? Fight with pensioners for a spot in the mud wrap line? It just didn't make sense to me. I made my stance clear to Alina, saying, well, Alina, if you want to go, arrange it with your girlfriends. Take your mother too, if needed. It's close by, right? As for me, I associate the word elite only with cognac or high-end resorts. So go on vacation and send me pictures of all this eliteness. So Alina made arrangements with her friends and went on her vacation. For 2 weeks, she would call me and praise the new place, sending photos of her and her girlfriends by the pool. Meanwhile, I dedicated my evenings to watching sports on TV and enjoying some beer, which allowed me to relax in my own way. When she returned, Alina baked a cake, bought champagne, and we celebrated our long-awaited reunion. Every evening, she would recount her spa treatments, the beauty of nature, and everything else. However, a week later, I received a strange message from someone named Andrew. He asked to be my friend and offered information about Alina's infidelity. I had never met this man before, but I couldn't completely ignore his message, as he seemed to know specific details about Alina's stay at the sanatorium and other personal information. Naturally, I asked my spouse, so, what have you been up to? Did you accidentally inhale anyone while I was waiting at home? She responded, come on, how can you even say that without feeling ashamed? I persisted, have you met any men? She replied, I didn't personally meet anyone, but I learned everything about everyone in 2 weeks. We would gather in the evenings on benches, singing along to a guitar. What's wrong? I continued to question, did you cheat on me in that exclusive sanatorium? She assured me, no, of course not. Besides, the place was filled with elderly people. You wouldn't find anyone younger in there. Just look at yourself. I calmed down, realizing that no respectable man in his 30s would subject themselves to such treatment. We prioritize our health differently. However, a certain Andre continued to make himself known. He sent me some seemingly innocent photos of the park, with Alina and her friends strolling through the trees. An hour later, I received an intriguing offer. Well, not exactly $1 million, but a substantial sum of money. A stranger wanted to sell me explicit photos of Alina, claiming that the park pictures were a sign of seriousness. I decided to have a serious conversation with my wife and get some answers. Tell me about all the sanatoriums. I began the conversation, every detail, everyone's names, what they did, and with whom. She exclaimed, are you out of your mind? I've been telling you all the interesting details for the past 2 weeks. Don't you listen? I had to admit that her words had become white noise to me. Many men, especially those with some experience in married life, would understand. We adapt to the constant flow of words and filter out unnecessary information to avoid overwhelming our minds. Frustrated, I retorted, stop beating around the bush. How many times have you cheated on me? Who is offering me these pictures of you for money? She shot back, you fool, I haven't cheated on you once. Leave me alone. And maybe, just maybe, you're the one who cheated? And if you're foolish enough not to realize that these are scammers, then go ahead and pay them. That's how they exploit fools like you." Her response was sharp, and I realized that I hadn't even considered the possibility of her being unfaithful. I had been occupied with my own affairs, patiently waiting for her return. So why should she have acted any differently? I apologized and embraced Alina. Fortunately, I didn't need to take out a loan, but the offer had been quite tempting. That was another factor that made me question its authenticity. I notified the anonymous individual that I was not interested in their services. However, they seemed persistent, replying, "It is pleasant to communicate with a man who trusts his woman so much, someone who worries and cares about her." Were you equally concerned when she had a mole removed from her left breast, leaving behind an ugly scar? That's when I was shocked. Alina had undergone an operation last year, but due to a mistake, her spouse was left with a noticeable scar. However, only a few people knew about it: me, the doctors, her parents, and maybe a couple of friends. I transferred money to a specified number and quickly received a large archive. With trembling hands, I scrolled through dozens of photos. There she was, in the arms of some collective farmer, then the two of them in a pool. They kissed, and he touched her inappropriately. It was clear as day. She was wearing different dresses, so it wasn't all on the same day, and her tan varied. The cherry on top was a short video of her in bed with the same man. No room for doubt. I approached her, laptop in hand, and turned the screen to show her a couple of pictures. Pasha, I didn't know how to tell you. He forced me, he threatened me. And one time, well, this happened. Alina tried to justify herself, but she didn't seem to have a well-thought-out story. He threatened you for 2 weeks, and yet here he made you laugh. And you ate ice cream together under his threats? I told her. Her spouse begged for forgiveness for a long time, but eventually realized that the truth wouldn't salvage the relationship and confessed everything as it happened. This is Andre, my ex from the village. We had a deep love. I left him about 5 years ago and moved away. I tried to contact him, but he couldn't leave his mother. He stayed there and held a grudge. After some time, I met you and completely forgot about him. Then, unexpectedly, I ran into him at the sanatorium. He's a cook, spending one day from morning till night in the kitchen, and the next day resting in the service building. One evening, he came to see me with wine, insisting that we talk. We sat down, discussed our current lives, drank, and reminisced about old times. And then my body remembered, and everything started. Before we parted, he told me that since I was living so well and could afford an expensive vacation, I should pay for his silence. I didn't think he was serious, but he found you and exposed everything. That bastard. But it will never happen again. Pasha, it was just a strange coincidence. Just a mistake, she confessed. Well then, darling, pack your things. Let's go back to your mom's house and return the defective goods. On the way, we can visit Andrew, either to confront him or have a friendly chat. It depends on how it goes. And if anything, you can stay at his place. You two seem to be happy together. I saw it in the photos, I responded. Alina packed her suitcase and sobbed loudly. I wanted to cry too, but I couldn't. I drove her back, dropped her off at her father's house, and left without even saying hello. Let her explain herself however she wants. I think word will spread quickly in the village. Maybe everyone there knows what happened, but I don't care. Let her find her own way out of this mess. One thing remains unclear. Why did she think she could have a fling with her ex for 2 weeks and then continue living with me as if nothing happened? I suppose I have Andrew to thank. Firstly, for providing the information, and secondly, for testing Alina's loyalty. He was expensive, but luckily I found out in time.